Hello, everyone. Ian Iliona here. Another day in the waste. Either way, YouTube has gone through some changes, so whatever. It must be a federal thing. Either way, uh, Japan. I don't normally and all over things, but Japan is getting closer and closer to a clean energy country. Closer and closer. Maybe they looked at the Fukushima disaster and said, we really have to solve this. So they put their heads together and they came up with solar panels above Japan, transforming the energy there into a microwave that they could send down to the ground and then turn that microwave energy into electrical energy, which is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Of course, that begs the question of, is it going to be free? Is it going to be free and available to all Japanese citizens? Or is this going to be some sort of premium thing? I want Japan to take the leap and just say it's a public good to have people with electricity. People with electricity, they're dialed in. They're dialed in into cooking, into reading by light. They're interested in a lot of things. They're interested in television. They're interested in movies. They're interested in playing music on instruments. It's just good for the country to have that available to them for free. Now, how can they implement something like that? I'm glad someone might ask that at some point. I plan on being an energy consultant, so I want to consult on Japanese civic planning. If you already have limitless energy, then you really need to revamp your entire electrical grid and include buildings in that. What is the point of having an electrical current through a house or an apartment when it just makes sense to deliver everything as internet, power over internet, power over ethernet? Because everything that you do, for the most part, is either wired or wireless. You have a television is a stationary thing. It makes sense to just have that plugged in and then have the TV draw power from it, because you're going to have limitless energy in Japan. Limitless energy in Japan. So you can connect that quickly with cables. Otherwise, you're going to have to revamp every single house and apartment that needs that. Also, it makes sense for them to have batteries attached to it. So this way, any other devices would just be used off of that. I forget which country, you forgive me, I'm not good at this, but there's another country that, while they're doing wireless electricity, they're doing wireless electricity at the same exact time, but it's more for anything and everything that you want to connect to. You want to connect a lamp to it, you want to connect a cell phone to it. I've said it before, say it again. Oh, by the way, hello, security VR official. Hello. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the revolution. Welcome, David. Welcome, Alpha. Hi from India. Well, hi from, I guess, the West Coast. Saffron, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the revolution. My name is Ian Iliona. I am an environmentalist, a human rights activist, a werewolf, and I'm excited for what this could be. what this could be, because more power means more power to do extraordinary things. For example, your refrigerator, it's already receiving an electrical signal. Why shouldn't it also have an Ethernet attached to it? An Ethernet for power. This is the way things go, because say you have food in there and you set a timer and that tells you, okay, you have 2 days to eat the food, otherwise you got to throw it out. Great. So it'll send you a notification because now your refrigerator is intelligent. I mean, it's not doing anything the way that we have it. And humans are busy all the fucking time. So why not lean in on some AI, lean in on some technology? You run out of orange juice, you run out of your favorite butter, then guess what? It orders it automatically for you. It's amazing what a refrigerator can do if it's given some internet. Now, does it need to use a lot of your bandwidth? No. In fact, with the amount of electricity that Japan is going to have, and maybe with some of my help, I'm going to increase the speed of the internet. So, larger bandwidth, higher speeds. You can have your refrigerator running all the time. You don't have to turn things off. You no longer need to. You might even be able to leverage that power to your PC. What would you do if you had more power, more internet, just in general, bandwidth and speed? Well, would you still need a high end graphics card? Would you still need a PC at all? Especially if you use your PC mostly for gaming. And even if you didn't use your PC for gaming and you used it for other things, why not just use your telly? What do we really need? Japan is at a crossroads now because it could take itself in a lot of directions. Do you smoke weed? I'm all about that edible game, my man. Number one, you get a better high, and two, uh, just just less throat cancer, I guess is a thing. So please enjoy marijuana. Please enjoy psychedelics that are legal. But yeah, I'm not a fan of smoking things in general because I'm a clean air person. It's my I don't want to say campaign because I'm not a politician. I'm just an energy consultant. I'm a technology consultant. And this is a huge opportunity for Japan because with this amount of energy, you can change not just the bill is free now. It's you could change the entire way that Japan does its culture. We've had to deal with things like COVID. We've had to deal with monkeypox. We've had to deal with several diseases. And Japan needs to look towards its future and say, if we really want to protect our people, maybe the idea of a supermarket and endlessly browsing the aisles doesn't make sense anymore. Maybe that is just not who we are for from the perspective of a Japanese person. Do you still want to go to the supermarket and have someone just sneeze in your face? Or would you rather you just order your food and have it delivered? And if you want to go to a walk, you go to a walk, you go to the park, you go to temple, you go, to a few places, but you stop wasting your time in these, I can only describe it as human pens. Just rooms that are built to have people congregate, bump up against each other, and spread disease. Now, normally, when people talk about clean energy, they don't talk about communicable diseases, but let's face it, that's where people get sick. They get sick because they keep being on top of one another, as opposed to maybe your house, maybe your apartment isn't a castle, maybe it isn't. But what if it was a window to the world? Go anywhere, do anything, speak to whoever you want, just enjoy life in general. Japan can do that. They can do that once they fix their infrastructure. The idea that a hospital could have autonomous energy is a good thing. It lowers the cost of medical care. That's for sure. Mary, quite contrary. Welcome to the channel. And by the way, Mr. Bostic, welcome to the channel as well. Ian Ileana here. Futurist, energy consultant, environmentalist. It's not every day that you get an opportunity to do more. It's not every day, but this is huge. This is huge. I want to say that America should have been first in this. Should have. All of the problems that we have, everything could be solved by something like this. A giant solar array in the sky that gives you free energy. You take that energy and you charge your phone, but even that is archaic. Why are we still charging our phones? Every time, Apple comes out with a new iPhone, they say, and the battery lasts even longer. Am I supposed to be impressed? Because that's not innovation. That's you just made it larger, or you made it more efficient because you really did a crap job of soldering on the first one. Let's just be honest. If they were perfectionists when it came to the circuits, they would have had the biggest battery available on the first one, but they didn't. They didn't know enough. They didn't practice enough. But why are they still trying to practice toward that goal of, okay, well, you get an extra minute on your cell phone? It's like, that's not even what we use our cell phones for. If you have a phone that lasts 2 to 3 days, you have to ask yourself, what were you doing with your life that your phone was on for 2 to 3 days, and you had to monitor the battery and say, oh my God, I better plug it in. I better. Why? Why? Wouldn't it make more sense to just have an iPhone that didn't have a battery at all? It just always was on. It didn't have a battery charge state. It was just a continuous circuit of electricity, low yield, because it doesn't need that much electricity anymore. After all it's really doing is repeating signals from something else. It might as well just be a Roku to people. It's just an entertainment conduit for the most part, and maybe it's a cell phone on occasion. But even then, it's who are you calling that you wouldn't use your Wi-Fi for that already? And shouldn't we be using Wi-Fi, or shouldn't we be using Ethernet for phone calls? Why are we still going about it the way that we have? This is a wake up call. I want more. I absolutely want more. Unbelievable. I'm not able to get used to this particular thing that's going on with YouTube. They're like, we added effects, but we took away, backgrounds, and now I feel like I've got to get closer to the camera, but I can look at the camera a lot easier now. So there's that. So I spent last night doing research about environmental issues, specifically the idea of responsibility. I keep talking about cancer. I keep talking about children with cancer, you know, leukemia, things like that, because sometimes it's bad genetics, bad timing, bad luck. But then there's another part that is human negligence and just human greed. There are a lot of examples that I gave, everything from Chernobyl to the Fukushima to Chateauguay, Suzanne Creek, where people, I believe, closer to Quebec, they were going about their lives. It was the Mohawk tribe. Someone, I don't know who it was, either it was the other people who live in that area or the tribe itself, said, we want heating oil. Now, I look at that situation and I say, Canada has a lot of fucking hot people. I see this Francois from Heated Rivalry, and the way that man kisses is, I know it's just acting, but that man is just sex incarnate. He's so hot, and he's bisexual, so it means I have a chance. Not really, but I like to believe I could. I'm a rock star, so maybe I have a chance. Either way, you mean to tell me that you couldn't get some friction going to get your body heat in Canada with the amount of hot people that come out of Canada? Now, it was a chemical spill, there was an accident, a truck overturned and spilled oil in their water supply, and for heating oil, who needed heating oil? Who? Because I don't understand why you couldn't have solar energy provide, why you couldn't have hydroelectric energy provide, or why you couldn't wear a slightly thicker layer and also insulate your houses or your yurts or whatever the fuck you have, so that you wouldn't need a shipment of dangerous materials through the area. Now, obviously, the person who made the order and the purchase for this, they weren't thinking, oh, that's right, oil doesn't belong in the water. They didn't think that way. But the consequence of that purchase was oil went straight into your water. So what are you going to do? Hmm? What are you going to do? Maybe learn from that. Maybe learn from that, because it was Mohawk today, but it could be anyone. Anyone. We don't care that our infrastructure, our roads, our checkpoints, all of it, it's just poorly staffed, and it's staffed by people who don't care. And then the roads, the motorways themselves are just in disrepair. And of course, these provinces, these cities, they say, well, if we had more money, we will take care of it for you. The pothole, the slick roads, whatever caused this truck to lose control and then spill chemicals into a water supply, whatever it is, if you throw money at it, it would be a different outcome. Instead of saying it is a public good to have well maintained motorways, it's a public good. When you talk about public goods, yeah, there's a dollar amount, a Canadian dollar amount. Yeah, there is. There's also a need, an immediate need. I think that need should be met by the people. I think the people should start saying, if I have to have hazardous materials go through my town, I have to have proper motorways. Because if there's a spill, it endangers my health, it endangers my children's health, it endangers my grandchildren's health, because the area is affected almost forever. As long as humans keep fucking in the same place. I've never been so angry as to hear something like that happen. Like, why would you let something like that happen to people who, for the most part, they live on a reservation? They're just trying to hold on to their heritage. They don't have much. Some of their children go off, they don't return, they go live in a city, they go explore. Some of their children intermarry, and then fast forward to something like my situation where I am descended from First Nation. I am Canadian, but Canadians didn't date Canadians. Canadians started dating other people, so it trickled down to a point where I'm not a part of any specific tribe, so I can't go to a reservation and stand up for my people properly. So I have to speak internationally because this is an international incident. This is an international cry for help against corporate greed, capitalist greed, selfishness. Selfishness. We have so many options besides oil. But that's the first thing people turn to because that's all they know. They're not willing to change. This is what upsets me because I want to move to Canada. I stare at the portal where I can apply for my visa and all that, and talk about how I want refugee status, but it's not any better. It feels better, but it's not better, and I wouldn't have the same rights there. So at least not right away. And by the time I would be granted those rights, it would be so. I have to somewhat stay in this country and fight. I have to go to Canada in order to meet with an international lawyer about how America's treated me over these years. But I have to try and fight for America to make America better because I am a citizen here. I am a citizen. I have a right to publicly criticize how the United States Air Force behaved to me, how California behaves to me, and how the West Coast continually bothers me. Yes, some of it is just me having PTSD, but then some of it is just orchestrated bullshit in order to bother me, take advantage of me. So That's where I am. That's what my life is. So I have to go to Canada, meet with an international lawyer, meet with the UN in general, because I want to be able to speak in session. Because a lot of these things that they're dealing with, these chemical spills, they're because we want things that we no longer need. You don't need heating oil when you generate more body heat and faster just by sipping some tea, exercising, fucking. You got options. You got options. You're not gonna freeze unless you literally want to do that in the snow, and then you're not really gonna be using oil in the middle of a blizzard. So let's be realistic. You're already indoors. Why do you still have oil heaters? I mean, true, solar energy, when you're that far north, is not exactly an easy thing. But Japan has proven that rain or shine, the sun will shine. And if you are that far up, it doesn't matter if it's day or night, it'll just continually deliver. And also, there's the idea that there is so much energy coming out from this new invention. Japan can power itself, it can power all of Asia, it can even power other countries, it could power the entire globe. If we get to a point of an international power grid, that changes a lot of things, but it's a good thing. So I'm for it. Absolutely. It's important to move forward, not to go back to how we used to do things in the fucking 1800s. Who is still using oil heat? As much as I feel for the people in that area, I want names. I'm not particularly owed that, but I want them to want names then. How about that? I want them to start asking those hard questions of what is going on in our lives that we risk our health with transporting hazardous material next to a river. That should have been illegal. Why did you do that, Canada? Do you not care about the First Nations? Do you not care at all? I know that there are other disasters and things, but it bothers me because this one was avoidable. There are several like people mining for gold or trying to get lithium or something like that. And yeah, that's just bad business. But it's bad business that costs people's lives. And every time I was on X, I made a message about our history of chemical spills that were 100% avoidable. Chemical spills that people in the UN were in sessions talking to them all the time about, there's solar energy, right? There's renewable energy. But they say it how many times in session? They say it in open session. They say it in committees. This is widely known. And the technology only gets better and better. So what are we waiting for? These are the things that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that the United Nations is in session talking about renewable energy, talking about trade and commerce and all these things. And then they go back to their own countries and they say, yeah, safety margins can be relaxed with radioactive material. Safety margins can be ignored when it comes to traveling through protected areas. Really? Do you not care? I mean, East Palestine, Ohio is another example of what are you doing? What are you doing? I think it was like vinyl chloride or something like that. That whole area is affected, and I almost want to say if you couldn't make it locally, why are you transporting it? Because it's not worth it. It is not worth it to fucking damn the fucking area for generations. The health of the people in that area affected forever because it's not that easy for poor people to say, I'll only drink bottled water. I'll only take showers with bottled water. I'll only do that. It's not that simple for them. Should it be that simple for them? Yeah, because technically, if you broke it, you should fix it. It's your country, but America doesn't think that way. America makes it a nice news story, and then people forget about it. They don't bring it back up again. People know Flint, Michigan happened, but they're not bringing it up in the conversation every single day. This is why I don't watch the news that often because there's some stories that they just keep royal weddings. They love to bring it up as often as possible. Ooh, the gossip that comes out of that circle. But when it comes to these human tragedies that have lasting repercussions, it's a news story and then people let it go because if you don't live in that area, you're not affected by it, so they say. But you don't know that. You don't know if they had businesses in that area that were shipping nationally. You don't know if they had restaurants that were feeding people as they passed through. What is it? Like fucking Longview, Oregon, around the place where I live. Because, I'm on that West Coast kind of travel guide, whatever thing I'm doing now. But either way, they used to mine for uranium there. And then they stopped. And you say, oh, well, that's good. You don't need to do that anymore. By the way, what did you do with the rest of the uranium? No, you left it there. Oh, okay, okay. Um, is it by anything that we need to know about? Rivers, lakes, a well, a reservoir system? Yes, and yeah. And they just left it there. They left it there. The people didn't move. The people didn't move. They probably know the risk. Probably. This is why somebody has to go to the UN, a mutant ambassador, to start talking to people. Tell them that there is a better way. You don't have to treat your citizens like cockroaches. Respect them enough to say that if you stop doing bullshit like that, they can do something. They can do something amazing. I have PTSD, so my opinion for people is so low. But it's mostly because I expect so much. I expect so much from people. My name is Ian Iliona. I'm an environmentalist, I'm a human rights activist, I'm an energy consultant, civic planner, I'm a werewolf, definitely a mutant. I hope to see you on the next podcast.